Hi, my name is Rachel Loth, and I'm honored to be sharing with you today here from my home in Fort Worth, Texas. I live here with my husband, Steve, and our 5 kids, ages 8 to 17. I've kicked them out for some fresh air and some sunshine, so hopefully we can have a nice quiet chat here. We are talking today about an important way to stay healthy during this season. This is a topic I have a lot of passion about. We're talking about detox and specifically talking about food. We have been using doTERRA oils and products since before my youngest was born, so almost 9 years, and we certainly have had major benefits and lifestyle changes from using doTERRA. The other thing we've seen a huge pivots in when it comes to our health is food changes, and that's why I've become so passionate about this over the yees is because it's so important. We can be using our oils every day and our supplements, and if we're eating, Ho-Hos and Twinkies, we might not be meeting our health goals. And it's not just those foods. There's other foods as well that are kind of hidden culprits when it comes to common health issues. So we're gonna talk about foods that add toxic load and make it harder for our body to detox the way it's designed to, foods we can add in that help us to detox and be the best, healthiest version of ourselves we can be. And then of course, oils and supplements. I have some great little tips and tricks for you. And it's some extra special things that you can add into your routine right now. So be listening for something new to you that you can try. I'm gonna ask you at the end to comment and let me know what you learned and what you're going to try next. So avoiding toxins in our diet. Like I said, it is very foundational to our health to address diet. doTERRA's wellness pyramid, right, has food and nutrition right along the bottom. And we learned this lesson in the first big way with my second child. He had some delays in learning to read, and he also had some skin issues. And we finally ended up with a natural holistic doctor who took a look at his whole body. And he was having some sluggish thyroid issues, but also he was eating some foods that his body wasn't happy with. And so while he didn't react immediately to these foods, they were in fact inhibiting his body and his detox processes and resulting in skin issues. And so when we removed them from his diet, and holistically cared for him. And this is way before I knew what essential oil was. His skin issues resolved and he began to catch up as far as school goes. And so it was a big lesson to me about how important food is. And we have many stories we could talk about. I'm gonna share a couple more through my talk. So let's define toxic first of all. I believe things allowed in our food in America are actually toxic, but they are, in fact, putting this heavy load and burden on our bodies. Our bodies are wonderfully made, right? We have all these processes that work together. You have the liver and kidneys and skin and digestive system, and these are all part of our detox pathways. They're all there for a lot of reasons, but one of them is to help flush out things that our body doesn't want, that isn't good for it. And so it's important to take care of all of them all together. And so we want to look at the things that tax those systems and inhibit our body, especially right now as it relates to our immune system. So looking at food and making food choices, right? When we're stressed, it can be easy to run to comfort foods and sugary foods and things like that. And so I hope I can give you some good reasons to put those down and make a different choice. So the first thing we're going to do when it comes to food, and is this food good for me, is does it pass the great grandma test? Could your great grandma have made it in her kitchen? Okay, so she probably couldn't have busted out some flaming hot Cheetos, right? That is such a processed food. It has complex, long ingredient lists, but she could have made green beans or baked potatoes. And so foods that have long ingredients lists that are incredibly processed, right, our grandmothers couldn't have made. So right there, we can take those foods off the table, so to speak, as far as things that inhibit health instead of create it in our bodies. So I have 5 things to check. And when a food has any of these 5 things, it's a stop. It's a no, do not purchase, do not bring it in your home. It is not a healing food. Okay, the first is corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup. I guarantee you if a food has that, the purpose of that food is not for healing in your body. and it should not be consumed. Artificial food dyes. Anything with food dyes, again, is not a health food, not something you want to be consuming. Artificial sweeteners, so aspartame and Splenda are in a lot of things currently that those foods should be avoided. Hydrogenated oils, so soybean oil is usually the one, but really anything with soybean oil, corn, canola, those types of things, and especially if it's hydrogenated, should be avoided. And then finally nitrates, which is a preservative we know for sure is very harmful to the body. So if a food has any of those 5 things, don't buy it, don't bring it in the home, just take that off the table too, okay? And so we're getting down to, now we're all gonna buy some processed food sometimes. Just make some better choices by looking at ingredients, right? I mean, we have 5 kids, we're very busy when sports are in full swing, I totally understand. But if we set some non-negotiables, then it helps a lot to weed out those things. Buy organic when you can, of course. Right now, we're all just trying to get what we need to feed our families and stay inside. So do your best as far as organic versus non-organic. So those are kind of 5 more specific things that might be considered toxins. But let's talk more generally, something that is a very big burden to our system and majorly inhibits our body's ability to detox and our immune system to be strong, and that is sugar. Sugar is delicious, but it is not our friend. And it can be very tempting to go to sugar, to bake and things when we're at home right now. But this greatly inhibits your immune system. So sugar does a lot of things in the body, right? Blood sugar spikes cause it a lot of problems. I found myself a couple years ago, overweight, very unwell, very tired. I was gluten-free and dairy-free, but I was still consuming a lot of sugar. And I had, thankfully, a natural doctor come alongside me and say, you need to stop eating things that spike your blood sugar. And as I did that, as I began to make those choices, the long list of health issues I was struggling with went away. Huge impact on how you're feeling. So it can feel good for a minute, but it can actually make the struggles and anxious feelings worse. Okay. It also inhibits essential nutrients and absorption. So we don't want to do that, right? We need all those vitamins and minerals and things we're consuming in our food and our supplements. We don't want sugar messing with that. This is the way I explain overall to my kids with the immune system and sugar. So in your body, you have this good army, and it's created in there to keep you healthy, right? Your white blood cells, and they're ready if something invader comes to knock it out and keep you healthy. Well, when we consume sugar, we knock down those soldiers. We put them to sleep. We cut down our army size. And there's a lot of literature on this. There's studies on this. This is true, okay? So we do not want to do that, of course, right? And so putting the sugar down, putting it aside, not even buying it in the first place, and choosing another comfort measure, your choice, but not sugar. For our kids, we try to keep treats occasional and under 8 grams of sugar. That's kind of a good measure when you're looking at maybe a convenience food, a granola bar or something like that. Some of them have more sugar than Snicker bars, right? Even some healthy foods can have sugars that high, and we definitely want to avoid those. So here's an easy example of how to make a swap, save money, and use your oils. So when I was growing up, when we had oatmeal, we would have little packets, right? I know they still sell them, apple cinnamon, brown sugar, very, very high in sugar, processed and expensive. So I have 3 teenagers, y'all. They eat so much. They eat so much. One of the things we keep around are organic oats. They know how to make them themselves. And they like to make, a lot of them like to make cinnamon raisin. So what they'll do is they'll add either raw local honey or some stevia to sweeten it, cook it with water or almond milk, and add cinnamon spice into it, and then a drop of cinnamon oil. doTERRA's cinnamon oil smells like candy. It is incredible, and it's very strong. So 1 drop in a bowl of oatmeal adds that really sweet, yummy cinnamon taste. And cinnamon is great for your immune system. It also promotes healthy blood sugar levels. And so, and we also encourage our kids, by the way, to add some collagen for protein to balance out the carbs of the oatmeal. But that cinnamon oil gives flavor, right? It helps reduce the need for it to be sweet, and it's great for them. It's an easy swap. It saves money. and get to use your oil. Same thing with yogurt. Instead of buying a sweetened yogurt, which are usually laden with sugar, buy plain organic yogurts and add orange or grapefruit or lime, something like that. So, all right, so what do we eat on the proactive side to help our body systems work their best, detox, flush out things we don't want, and feel well? Of course, green things, right? Eat your veggies, eat your veggies, eat your veggies. Can't get around that. Terra Greens is a great thing from doTERRA that you can add into smoothies and shakes to add in some of those nutrients from fruits and vegetables. Sorry about my dog barking. And it's great for you. You can also, a lot of people like to get those dark leafy greens in through a smoothie. So either way, whichever way you're doing it, a fun oil tip is to cut that kind of bitter taste that can be on the end, is to use a drop of wild orange or a couple drops of wild orange. Totally safe way for kids to consume oils. And like I said, it kind of cuts that bitterness from the greens. We've used lemon, we've used grapefruit, we've used tangerine. Tangerine's kind of my fave right now. So more and more and more veggies. While you're home and you're cooking more, try cooking them different ways. You can steam them, you can roast them, get the kids involved. All right, number 2, onions and garlic. So these are both 2 of my favorite things in the whole world. I get teased a little bit about how much garlic I like to cook with, but they're great for you. Use fresh whenever you can. They're both rich in sulfur, which helps your body create glutathione. Glutathione is your big daddy antioxidant. You want your body making glutathione. And so that is definitely part of staying healthy. So onions and garlic, add them into those veggies, cook them with your meats. They add great flavor and they're good for you. 3, lots and lots of water with citrus oils. Like I said, tangerine's my personal favorite right now. But any kind of citrus oil, just be consuming that in water throughout the day. 4, a great thing to add in is turmeric, or turmeric, however you like to say it. The spice you can cook with, you can make teas with. There's all kinds of recipes out there. Now, as far as supplementing it, is very poor absorption rates, even when you're adding in black pepper. The kind that we have in our Deep Blue Complex is specially formulated. It has a great higher absorption rate. The other really nifty thing we have now is turmeric capsules. And so this is the spice and the oil together. Lots of great literature out there if you want to research them. Great effects on the body, but we have it in this handy dandy little pill now. It's easy to swallow, and so that is definitely something to be taking every single day. Promotes healthy, normal inflammation levels and keeps your body happy and healthy. So get that turmeric in however you can. And finally, the 5th thing that is great to consume is bone broth. And so if you make chickens, maybe you're cooking some whole chickens or anything with bones, take those bones, cover them with water, put them in your Instant Pot or your crock pot or your stovetop, and you're going to cook them really, really long and create a bone broth, and that is wonderful for your gut health. All right, and you can add oils to that too. You know, you can add some thyme, which is really great immune support, rosemary, celery seed. I love our celery seed oil. It's really yummy. All right, so here's some additional tips, oils and supplements to add in to support your detox pathways and keep your body happy and feeling good and your immune system strong right now. Lifelong Vitality Pack, of course, I have my little sachet here. Make sure you're taking your Lifelong Vitality Pack. Remember, this is filling in all those gaps and cracks in the foundation of our health. We cannot possibly get all our vitamins and minerals from food, so we need to fill in all those holes daily with our omegas and all that goodness in our bodies as our foundation of health. Like I said, citrus oils in your water. Something else I love to do, especially if you struggle with drinking soda, which is definitely something to cross off the list, sparkling water with your favorite citrus oil, a little bit of stevia. It's so good. You can add apple cider vinegar. You can add lemon juice. Great things to sip on during the day, especially as it gets hotter. All right, another way to use your oils to support your detox pathways is to keep your bowels moving. So our digestive system is definitely part, right, of flushing things out of our body that no longer serve it. And as your body creates waste, the last thing you want to do is sit inside there for days at a time. So we want to make sure that we're keeping really regular. So Terrazyme with every meal. Digescent is a great place to start. Drinking lots of water, and of course, all of your greens and veggies and healthy foods will help with that as well. Zendocrine Blend. And you can take the soft gels too if you prefer. That's a great support during this time to keep our detox pathways going strong. And then 5, like we said, anything you can do to reduce sugar and make yourself at home. This is also my final tips, a great time to use oils in a hot Epsom salt bath. My favorite, you ready? Frankincense, arbor vitae, serenity, and marjoram. So do like 2 or 3 drops of each of those in the bath. I like to add mine to just a plain organic bubble bath and put it in with a cup of Epsom salt. Hot soak, great for mind and body. Dry brushing with essential oils is a great support for detoxing. If you Google dry brushing, you'll find some great articles there. Getting more exercise, just getting out and getting a 10 to 20 minute walk is great for detoxing. And of course, get to bed on time. Use your oils as needed. Cedarwood's my favorite. And I take Serenity and Copaiba soft gels every night as well. So all of that adds up to keeping our body systems healthy, moving, keeping our detox pathways moving along in our body, working as it should, right? So that we can stay strong and healthy. So if you would, I would love it if you would comment below with something new you learned or a new tip that you're going to try. Let me know down below in the comments what you're going to change. I wish and pray for you and your family good health in this season and protection. I hope my tips have helped you. Be well, be healthy and well, and thank you for watching.